Okay. Before we do the adoption of the agenda, I have 2 additions under new business. And I just want tour of the medical center. And open house Fundy Rose. So, now, I would like now to have the adoption of the agenda, unless there's anything else. We do have 2 in-camera items. I don't see them listed.
They weren't added.
Oh, okay.
They came after,
And
so they have to
would
be
that,
added.
Would it be called contract?
Yes.
Contract. Cool. I don't know why when I looked at this list, I saw it there, but it was, I think, in my brain.
I'll move for adoption of the agenda as amended.
Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Now, did you get that? Okay. Next is the presentation on the FCM, and it will be between myself and Deputy CAO Jeff Sunderland.
Here.
He's got one.
Pen?
Oh. No, I need something else.
Okay.
She wanted to get Robert. But I don't know why she wanted to get Robert.
Maybe Alfred?
I see that at the opening of the Pan American.
Like to start?
Well,
Or do we want to wait till some people come back?
Oh, we will wait for a second.
No, I didn't see it either, but they were showing some, clips here and there.
I thought we were doing this first,
I
and
watched
then
the latter
maybe
part
she
of
wants to get him done.
Really nice.
I guess they did a really good job. The Cirque du Soleil was in charge of it.
Tuck in your shirt. Was Alfred coming in now? Because we can switch the
Yeah, we can do
agenda
him
around
first so
and
he
let
can
him
go.
get in and be
Yeah,
gone.
it's not fair to
To make
hold
him
him
wait.
up.
That we don't need anything up for him.
No, I think it's always best to do that way. Get people home a little earlier in the summer, especially. Oh, there we go.
Welcome. Is that turned on?
No.
Just hit the
Just
button.
push the
the
button.
little button. There you go.
I'm going to forward something to you, Linda.
Okay. You're going to discuss the property at 904 Riverview Road?
Well, okay. A month or so ago, I was asked to look at a property in Bear River.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, sure, I'll look at it. I went and looked at it, said, yeah, okay, I know which one it is. Dealt with that before. I talked with Jeff, and I said, so what do you want me to do with this? I've looked at it, and I said, I'm not too sure what they want me to do with it. It wasn't said to me that there's a complaint under dangerous and unsightly. It was like, look at this building and tell us what you think. Which, yeah, that's...
No, I think I referred to you that one of the counselors had received a complaint about this property.
But I had no dangerous and unsightly complaint.
Okay.
Okay. But that was my understanding. It wasn't okay. This is, look at that, because tonight, and then a couple of last week was like, okay, present something. So I went and looked at it. I took some pictures, and it's like which is what I wrote down. I mean, he had that a few years ago, and he did some things and didn't do the others, and now it's just growing up more than it was. But for a demolition, like if I was going to say, okay, let's have a demolition, I need to give him a letter to say you can come in at such a time like we used to, so I can say this is what I want, and then they can then, say their piece, and then the committee or council votes on whether to go with me or them. This, I thought, was just an information thing as to, and this is why I mentioned all these pictures, and the cost is going to be this, and I doubt very much we'll ever recoup the cost from him. So it was like, if you want me to proceed, I will then contact him and arrange probably for next committee of the whole or something. If he wants to come in, I doubt he'll come in, maybe. It's Ulrich.
Deputy Ward.
Yes, this complaint came to me, and this is a house that, like I think we both know, that this individual is noted for this action with his properties in the town and the municipality, and he has for a number of years. I've had complaints from the homeowners living next to him, and they're concerned about the fact that if it ever caught fire, it would take their place too. And their concern is that there's animals that can get in it. It's unsightly, and they feel that something should be done about it. And so I brought it to the CAO's attention, and she talked to you about it. But I would like to see us go forward with this, because I think based on what I read on your report there from 2011, he didn't even finish everything that was asked of him at that time. So obviously, I don't know why this individual would even own this property when he doesn't even do anything with it. Like, he pays his taxes, and he's got this property there, but it's getting run down every year, and there's been no maintenance done on the property or anything. So I think if he's going to keep the property, he's going to have to maintain it. So he's got to keep it up. So
yep. I can tomorrow. I can prepare the paperwork needed. I will serve him with the paperwork needed. I just need to talk to Linda or somebody about the next possible time. That has to be at least 7 days, and then give that person a chance to come in if he chooses to come in and speak his piece, and then I'll be here to recommend my decision.
So if the decision, and I understood that you were struggling between either trying to get the homeowner to fix the unsightliness of the property or just go for a demolition. So that's, I think, looking for a bit of direction.
Yeah.
Was what I understood.
Yeah, it was kind of direction of what, where do you want me to go next?
It's a large house.
It's a large house, and that's going to be expensive, and that's not to say I won't do it. I'm just kind of bringing out everything. It's going to be.
But if it's unsightly and dangerous, and my word is dangerous, it needs to be dealt with. If this is what you feel needs to be done, fine. And if it needs to be more than, we just want it dealt with when complaints are coming in.
It's one of those houses that you can go in, like you see in the pictures, and I can have it all brushed out, all logged and cut, and the area cleaned out beside it and in front of it. Then the house is going to stand out like a sore thumb right after that. It's going to just blink like neon at you. So, and I don't think we're in the process. I mean, the front deck would have to be totally replaced, the two front decks. The back needs a severe amount of work. The roof is starting to leak. It needs to be scraped and painted. I don't think we're in the business of scraping and painting houses. And
So
it's
what
just
you're
deteriorated.
recommending is demolition then?
Well, that's what I'm probably going to be asking for.
Yep.
But I can't get approval for that legally from you guys tonight. We have to set up a meeting for that person to come in.
Well, and maybe they're going to want to do all this and clean
They
it up.
may want to go clean it
Yeah.
up.
So you either do one or the other. You either write them a notice
Well,
saying this needs to be fixed, or you send them and we go start the process for a demolition. There's two separate
I
processes.
don't want to start the cart before the horse, but that's going to be my recommendation. I'm not going to ask to get it fixed. I asked him to fix it in 2005. Fought with him to get what we got.
2005?
5 or 6, what was it on the letter?
2011?
Or 11?
Yeah.
11, yeah. But that was like that prior to that. I've been dealing with this guy on that. He doesn't do anything. He's not going to do anything. I know he's not. So for me to ask to fix it, I might as well, I don't know, ask for something else because he won't do that.
So your recommendation is?
I'm just going to recommend to demolish it, yeah. There's no way to fix it. It's going to be costly, but he's never going to fix it. There's no way he's ever going to scrape and paint that 2-story house. So why, to me, why put that down as a requirement for somebody to do when I know he's never going to do it?
Maritza?
I'm just thinking part of the process because we got kind of nailed on the process before.
But-
Well, that's
with
it. We would have
Churchill.
to start with issuing him a notice that we were going to demolish and tell him when he could come to council.
Okay, so
And
that
Alfred
covers-
would give his
Yeah, that's what
report, and he would be here, and if he,
Okay, just was
and
wondering.
then council makes a
It's
decision.
not an either or, it's
Yeah.
just demolition.
To me, that's probably what I'm going to ask, yeah.
He'd be able to come in and argue. He'd have an opportunity to come in and argue if he does plan on cleaning it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see what he has to say, if he does or doesn't.
I mean, if he wants to fix it up, I'm all for it.
Yeah, he can come right in and talk to us about it. And
It's
I'm just worried if we're going to miss anything that could possibly get us in trouble later in regards to the...
no, that's why we're following the process properly.
So this is... Yeah, 'cause
It
it's
doesn't matter
been
who it
multiple
is,
years.
we will be following the process.
Mhm.
And, as a property owner, I assume he's going to want to do what's best for himself and his property.
And he can come
And
tell us.
he will, yes.
I guess the question I would ask
Oh,
is
boy.
that if we didn't know who the property owner was, and we were looking at this for the first time, would you go through and ask for a demolition, or would you ask them to clean it up first? Like, is the house in salvageable
Can't assume it.
condition?
Well, the front veranda is completely gone. That is rotted right out. So that's going to be replaced. The one to the right, there's another one that's all gone and rotted out. That's all in the front. As soon as you clear all that brush that's overgrown with trees, in 2011 there were only like little tiny things. Now they're that big, they're just growing over. You can tell he's never been around. It's grown through it. You barely see the house now. But when it's cleared, that's from the road. So once that's cleared, you're going to see that house, and the paint's all chipped off it. The back doors, you can tell people's been entering it off and on through there. I mean, everything's just mildewed and just gone. I mean, if that was somebody that I thought would even begin to try to clean it up, I may ask for certain things, but I can ask for it, but I know he's not going to do it.
I think we asked first.
I mean, I can ask, but
Deputy Warden?
Back in 2011, he was asked, and he didn't do it. And so this 4 years later, and this is
But
still an ongoing problem.
Apparently, we didn't follow up. If it wasn't done, and
Yeah. With the condition of the house, I mean, if you take away all the greenery and the shrubbery that's grown up around the house, I don't even know that is what you could consider to be dangerous or unsightly. It's the property falling down, and because I don't think we can judge whether or not you have a tree this close to your house or this far from your house. I mean, but if it's growing up through the house, it's a different story, I think. But I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one to call.
I can go through the process.
Safe than sorry.
I go through the process. I can say clean up all the shrubs inside and front, clean it all out, fix both verandas, and then once he doesn't do that, then later
or he
on-
may. Get us say he may.
Yeah, well,
You can't assume these things in regards to due process.
you'd be the first one he ever did. I don't think it's going to be that one. Believe me, you all know who it is. So.
I don't know.
Oh, I'm sorry, Jimmy.
With regards to this property, if you did ask them to do certain things to bring it up to standard, I would hope that we'd have an aggressive timeline to get the work done, and within reason, that to give the person time. And at that time, but also, are we allowed to say if this work is not done by such and such a date, there will be an order of demolition? Or are we allowed to say that?
Yeah, we did it before.
Yeah. And
So-
then at that time, I guess then you'd tell him, then you'd issue a notice and then tell him he has, like September to come to that committee of the whole meeting.
Right. So he has till September, say, to clean it up and do the work, and if it's not done by then we will be starting the process for an order of demolition.
Yep.
Is that correct?
So just the order to order to remedy wouldn't mean a meeting with you guys again.
No.
I could do the order to remedy this week, have that served, give them 30, 60 days, whatever, to do these things. And when that time came and they weren't done, then he could be given an order for demolition, and then he would have to come in front of you guys.
30 days, so.
With care and attention. You can assume all you want, but I'd like us to always have the remedy, then the demolition. It's only an extra couple of months, and I think it's sensible from our position to take that approach. Not risky at all.
And at which point does he come in to see us?
It would be after the time, after the time that the order to remedy expired, like we could say to the August 31st, then Alfred would issue the notice that you're going to seek an order to demolish, and he would come at a committee of the whole meeting in September.
Yeah.
That would be the earliest, because we don't have a committee of the whole. So in September it would be at that point, and he would get notice of that when he could come.
Unless it's all done by August 31st, and that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
You need a motion for that.
No.
Yes. Oh, we don't?
No.
Okay.
No,
Not yet.
I'll just proceed with that. I'll get the paperwork ready tomorrow, send it, get that delivered to him. I'll deliver it personally and whatever.
No, he's not allowed to mention it.
So I'll do that, and then we'll see you back in September.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, sorry.
No, I just have another question for Alfred. Did you
Okay.
go see the alligator hunter,
The what?
the crocodile hunter? Did you tell him about it, Linda?
Oh, I didn't go see it though. I said, gee, $10. Holy Christ! I said, I already got one. Of course, it cost me more than $10 to get down to Louisiana, but I didn't.
There was
go.
a multicultural event in Yarmouth this weekend,
Who was there?
and on Saturday they had a Cajun day.
Which
And
one?
was his name Rob
Troy.
or Troy
Oh,
Frost?
Troy?
Oh, I know that.
Troy
Oh, my
Landry.
goodness.
He's a crocodile hunter down there in the
I would have
bayous,
liked to have seen him.
and he was there. They had him at the event in Yarmouth on Saturday. I didn't go to
She
it,
can't
but
understand
I was
a
going
word.
to say,
I
was he
knew that-
understood?
huh?
Was he understood?
I
Yeah,
don't-
she can't understand.
I don't know. I didn't go
Does
to
he
see him.
speak French?
It's
He
a
speaks
Cajun.
Cajun.
He's Cajun.
Cajun.
Yeah,
But you've seen him, haven't you, already
Yeah,
before?
I was there to his place there in Louisiana, but yeah, I mean, he's got an accent a little bit stronger than mine, but
A little bit.
I understood him. I don't know what that means.
I just thought you might have liked to go
See,
see him.
he was drinking. A friend of ours, wife's brother's daughter, went and got a picture with him, and he had a looked like a rum and coke that he was drinking. So he's probably talking better then.
Fitting in.
Marissa?
Have we moved ahead at all with the other demolitions that you, or not demolition, but, well, yeah, you're going to take part of that house in the.
Thursday, Greg called me. The one that got the lowest bid was Greg Thomas,
Okay.
and well, he's not the one doing the work, but it's Greg. It's Greg's machine. But he was the lowest, and he called me. I called him last week. This morning he called me because of my time frame. But Thursday the machine will be dropped there either Wednesday or Thursday morning early, and we're going to start doing it Thursday. So
they're going to just take that piece off.
and take what you see that looks
Big
bad,
hole.
take that
Yeah.
big out, bury that basement up, and then, like I said, wait to see what happens with the foundation of the other part. We may have to shore that up. We'll see when we start taking this out what comes with it.
Okay.
Kind of. So that'll be done Thursday, starting Thursday. Shouldn't take long for that.
Is there any other questions?
Day and a half.
Thank you very much, Alfred.
Okay, well,
Waiting.
sorry about that misunderstanding. I kind of thought it was like from information purposes I was gathering this, and
That's okay.
but no problem. We'll do that tomorrow and start the wheels on that.
There's always something. And I do have one question.
Okay.
Did the fire marshals and the building inspectors enjoy our municipality on Thursday?
I'm sure they always do when they come here.
Just checking. They seem to be enjoying themselves. But
Yeah, no. Now they said, who's that? A couple of them. I said, well, that's the warden. What? I said, yeah, that's the warden. I said, don't worry about her. I said, her bark's worse than her bite.
I didn't bark at them. I was nice.
No, they were good.
No, I just wondered if they enjoyed, because that's usually the common theme we hear. And that was the first time I'd ever seen them here. They look like pleasant people.
Yeah, they all are. We've been to every municipality in our zone, from Liverpool to Barrington to Yarmouth to municipality, the town of Yarmouth to Clare to here. Anyway, I don't want to hold you guys up.
No, but I do appreciate that, because it's good for our council to know sometimes when staff are holding events. You know, I happen to, I thought it was really nice.
You guys talk.
Thank you.
I mean, the CEOs talk, and everybody knows, and they talk. So they don't mind coming here. There's places. This is one of the better places. Really, I've been to all of them.
That's what I like to hear.
Yes, never mind.
It is honestly one of the better ones. They're all good, but this is one of the better ones, I'll tell you.
Thank you
Okay?
so much.
Okay, guys.
Oh, what did I just do? Where did you go? I can hit anything and make it disappear. Okay, now we're going backwards because of the change. Thank you very much. Is the FCM presentation by myself and Deputy CAO. So, let's open the show. The first thing that happened was the opening ceremonies with their, that is the mayor speaking there of Edmonton, very young. Actually, he isn't the youngest mayor. There was a young mayor, he said, in 18-something.
Yeah, I think it was.
There was one back, because this man is, what, late 20s?
I think it's 31.
31.
He was 30 when he was elected.
And very welcoming, seems to care about the community, making changes in Edmonton. Let's keep going. Then there was the President's Forum, and that was the representatives from the 4 political parties answered questions from a panel. And that was interesting. Now, there was different workshops to go to. And as you see and as you saw, there's the policy workshops, and there was energy workshops and how to engage the citizens. Jeff went to a lot of the climate change type thing, and I went more to policy, that type of thing. I personally did not go to like fighting urban flooding because I don't think we're urban enough. So there was others that were good. Yes.
Did you attend any sessions regarding I know the FCM, whenever there's a federal election forthcoming.
I attended
Did you
those.
attend some sessions that were pertaining to what the FCM's asks are going to be to the
Yes.
different parties?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that's in there, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
it
in here.
touched
But yes,
on it,
I,
but-
I did attend that. And Jeff, did you attend as well? Yeah, I thought you did. Is that where we met? At that forum?
Was that Trudeau?
Maybe it was.
Mulcair? I think it was Mulcair.
Oh, okay. I know we met. But yes, they are sending everyone the questions that they want people to look at from the FCM.
Did the other party leaders say anything about still supporting the federal gas tax funding program?
McClare did. Sorry, Tom.
Mulcair.
Yeah.
Mulcair.
And Trudeau did. And Elizabeth May did. But of course, Harper wasn't there, and his minister didn't say anything. Only thing is, he's a busy man.
Yeah, well, they've implemented it. They put.
I know, but
so
they
like,
did not comment. They'd like to see it keep going, or if they'd
Yeah.
like to stop it tomorrow. It was not mentioned.
No, isn't it permanent though right now?
It is.
I think it's
It
permanent,
is.
but I
It
didn't
is.
know if the other parties
They
were
all-
talking about
they-
enhancing the program.
Actually, the NDP felt there should be more come out. And Justin felt it should stay the same. And Elizabeth May felt it was a good thing. And Elizabeth May spoke directly from her heart, or she never used paper or teleprompt, where the other three did. You know, I mean, I was thinking, how did they? And then they told us they were using teleprompts because they
Well,
were. It was all good.
In all fairness, they've got to be very conscious on what they say, and more so than what possibly she would have to do.
But she was right on. I mean, no, but she was.
No, I mean, I've heard her speak before, and
She's
she's
an
a very good
engaging
speaker.
speaker.
Yeah,
Did
I
you
mean-
see in the paper that they're not going to allow her to be part of any of the debates?
Yeah, I know. I don't think it's right.
10%. That she's got enough support from national. Oh well, for
Anyway,
digress.
Okay. Like I said, Finance Minister Joe Oliver spoke. Justin Trudeau. I'll actually say I really enjoyed him. I don't like the idea of legalizing marijuana, and that was not mentioned there. But he came across that he is there as a leader. He did come across that way. He appeared better than his father, in my opinion. And that wouldn't have been hard, though. And then,
we'll buy his hair down.
I'm just trying to, okay, keep going. On Saturday, the resolutions passed with strong support. It was on climate change, missing and murdered women, infrastructure program, social housing, emergency response, planning for marine oil spills, and a federal leaders debate. And that session went fast. Less than an hour. Less than an hour.
All those touchy issues.
So was Raymond moving? the
Everything
president
was,
now?
everyone was, there was no controversy. It just was no controversy.
Good pick then.
It was like,
Not like years ago.
oh,
when you can
I
average.
couldn't believe how fast it was over. I'm saying it was definitely less than an hour, but it might have only been a half hour, 40 minutes. It was not long. There was time after. But, yeah, there was no, everything went. And it then talked about, of course, that they like to see 30% women in municipal elected officials. They talked about the challenges facing first responders. I went to the digital media to mobilize neighborhoods. I left and I went to FCM's ensures to women make up 30% because it just didn't appeal to me. It wasn't there for me. Getting messages you need into the media was an excellent one. I went to that. I'm still back at the pan, but short, snappy, stay to the point. That is your main focus, and how to use the different medias to your advantage. As they will tell you, Facebook is meant for the 40 to 60-year-olds. Instagram is for your 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. Twitter is used for the 20 and 30-year-olds. So, they were saying, you've got to look and be relative. I find around here, teenagers don't look at Facebook. But I find that you will find that from here, I find that in the 30s are still using Facebook. But it's 40s to 60s is still the main live there. Which one did you go to on this one?
Day 2, I was municipal and first responders, climate change on day 2.
Okay. So was there any comments you wanted to make on first responders and climate change?
I was going to let you go through, stick my stuff in there.
Oh, okay. I sort of thought. Okay. I also went to, and I don't see it there, but I went on a field trip, study tour to farming.
I heard about that.
On the chickens, egg laying. It was not a place for me. I was not, and I think they knew I was not happy because I said, when do the chickens ever get out of the cage? They don't.
And how many chickens in a cage?
7 chickens in a cage. And they were picking each other, and I thought it was awful. And they said, well, that's just normal. It's not. It's not normal. They only live a year and a half.
For years in the past.
Yeah, but at least they were outside and could run away from each other. I'd have run. But anyway, I will tell you, there was no smell. It was clean as a whistle. They're fed properly. All that was there. I will say that was right on. It was, to me, I felt they were cramped quarters, and they said they're not allowed to have 6, they're not allowed to have 8. They have to have what the government says they have in that space, and that's what they have. And they had 25,000 chickens. And they were one of the small farms. But I gotta admit, and they were telling us from this farm, Cora's place, they sell out west to all Cora's twice a week because they want fresh eggs, and these are fresh eggs, and they're the medium ones that go to them. And they were they did mention that one. So he said you do get good eggs.
So these were egg laying chickens.
Egg laying. Oh, no. Just egg laying. So, but it was, I went to it because I've always heard how awful it is. And to me, what was awful was the cramped quarters, or what I felt was cramped. Because we raised chickens all my life when we were kids, and it was so different. But as I said, I couldn't get over no smell. And when you go in, you have to suit up. You have to put on this white full-length thing and with a hood on it. You had to have special boots. When you stepped, there was one place we had to dip our feet, and they were like, you couldn't leave and get off, go anywhere. You had to stay right where they told you. And one man couldn't get into the suit, so he wasn't allowed into the buildings. And because I said to him, well, what did you do? He said, I just hung around here and talked. And they were very nice. It was family run, and it's they're not Mennonites.
Amish?
No.
Hutterites.
Hutterites, thank you.
Out west.
Out west, yes. And they were, and we were told, just to remember that they have a different society than we have. Uh, the women tend to stay home and do their things, and the men are the ones that are out. And they do go off the farm and do things. And they can go, and come back and that type of thing. So that part was interesting on the bus ride, learning about them. But the one, I upset one woman on there because I'm so bright. There was these women standing around, and I was trying to figure it out. So this man had said his wife had just had her baby, and she was home. So I said, oh, so then this woman kept standing around, around his age, and I said, oh, are you here helping with the chickens? And she said, no, I'm babysitting. Now, I didn't see any kids. That doesn't mean there wasn't any. And I said to her, oh, you're his wife. My God, she's still home in bed. So I take it they have a little differences after you have a baby about not going out in the public. But it was just funny. And they did offer us some nice food as well to eat. No. They offered us homemade bread and homemade pie. So, which was nice. They're not going to offer chicken. They don't eat chickens. They lay eggs with the chickens. That would not go over very well with people. But
you could have grabbed maybe the worst looking one as you were going through.
I felt bad for them. And different ages are in different spots. They move them around. Okay, let's go on. Montclair was there. He did, like I said, he did do an excellent speech. The trade show was very interesting. They had a hybrid car there, of course, fully electric car there. And there was some interesting things to talk to the different vendors about, but it was on the small side, didn't you think?
Yeah, having not seen another one, but the stories I heard, it sounded smaller than
Yeah.
certainly in the past.
And then Sunday was Women in Government. That was the breakfast. I did not attend that. No, I was going to something else. Was that Elizabeth May was that day? I went to Elizabeth May. We did the roll of honors, though. And the one that, of course, I knew, and some of you may know, was Basil Stewart from PEI.
What's that story?
Well, the work he's done in PEI, and plus he was an FCM president. So these are awards for what they've done.
He was a mayor.
The Green Champions, of course, Halifax Regional Municipality was there for their solar system. Solar City, yeah. And then Elizabeth May spoke, and I said she was excellent. Then we heard Bruce Anderson, and he was doing the national polls and what they meant and what was going on. And he was pretty interesting.
Well, those guys always are.
And it was surprising the things he was saying, and how fast things change, and just because you hear it's 34%, it really doesn't mean 34%. And he says things can change so radically, and there was some changes with the Liberals coming more up to rise than what they have been, and the Tories are dropping a little. And he was saying, look at what you're going to watch for, going through the campaigns. So, yeah, he was interesting. And we had our elections that day on Sunday. And then on Monday, I did a study tour on Monday. I went to the breakfast, and the study tour I went on was, just a minute. Oh, I took a tour through the business revitalization zone on how to get people to appreciate their French heritage. And I went because it was only study tours on that day. And I thought, let's see what they're doing. Are they doing something, that you can bring back? And what they have done, they're revitalizing, just like they've done downtown, just like they've done on a lot of our boardwalks across the province. And you're seeing the businesses being part of it, and that's what's growing it. The same, I think, that's what's growing it downtown, the businesses. Jimmy?
Back to the elections, I take it Raymond Louis became the president?
Yes.
And so Brad, did the...
Brad's now past president.
Right, and how was Brad's year? Did he speak
And
on?
how was Brad?
How was his year? How was his tenure?
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
He was spoke of by the finance minister, spoke of him, and that they had had good conversations with him, and so did the others. He traveled, he was gone, I'm trying to think how many days, do you
It was
remember?
over 200 days, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, he was gone on FCM business.
Yeah, normally the presidents are like that. I know when Barry from Kitchener and Karen, they both put in a tremendous amount of time into it. Who new came into the executive?
It was the woman from Winnipeg.
Okay, I know who you mean.
Okay.
She's the one who tried the last time?
Jenny, isn't it? Not Jenny. Yeah, I think it's the same one.
There were two that...
She's a counselor for the city of Winnipeg.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she
she came in last year. She got elected last year. Now.
Yes, there was a woman.
Yeah, she
there was
came
the
in
one
last
from
year.
Regina that didn't make it.
Right. So.
Yeah, but this year a woman from Winnipeg won it. Wasn't it Winnipeg? Yeah, it was Winnipeg.
Okay, I'll have to go on the website.
It was two counselors from Winnipeg.
Okay, because there's a lady that I was quite sure she won last year.
Yeah, and she didn't, I know.
Huh?
Yeah, the one that...
Yeah.
There may be two women there on there now. I think
That would be good.
So it was, I found it an interesting conference. It was a little different conference this year because they did so much with the election. They did a lot of talking about the election.
Yeah, they would.
And the place was packed for all of this. The media one was packed. There was one I went to go to, and I couldn't get in.
No.
They were outside standing. And again, it was a media type of one. But I was trying to do those type of things to hear. And I knew Jeff was doing the other stuff that he found interesting.
I brought up the directors.
Oh, okay.
The second vice is Jenny Gerbasi.
Yeah, Jenny.
City of Winnipeg. Then third vice is Sylvie Gannot. She's municipal councillor for Gatineau.
Okay.
She must be the new
That's
one.
the new one.
That
That
would
would be the new one.
Third one,
She'd be from Quebec.
Yeah. Quebec, yeah.
Yeah.
The third vice.
Yeah.
Yeah, third
That's
vice.
the new. That's the newest person
position,
elected.
Yeah.
Because you start
I
off
thought
the
it was
third.
Winnipeg.
No, she
Well,
got it. She got
she
it last
moved
year.
up from third to second. She's now second vice.
What was the lady's name again?
Sylvie.
Gatineau?
Sylvie
Gannot.
Gannot, Goneau. So that's the board.
And they
Yeah.
did the elections electronically?
So there were actually elections for positions?
Yes. For the last one.
For the third vice,
Yeah,
yeah.
the third vice.
There normally is
Yeah.
when you go to the bigger areas.
All right, now your turn.
All right. Like Linda said, I did a climate change, and I did a number of things around civic engagement. Kind of been the theme around here of mine for the past year. I'm going to say I'll reiterate Linda's comments on. I don't know what other ones were like. This one was packed between the main room and the sessions. The first civic engagement one that I went to.
I couldn't get in that one.
There were 4 deep standing on the sides. It was classroom-style seating in a huge room, and it was just, and that theme continued through every session in that building. You couldn't, if you took a coffee break in between sessions, you didn't get a seat at the next session.
Does that tell you that they was in the wrong place because the venue wasn't large enough? That sounds like
it.
Yeah.
Well, I think they weren't expecting so many to attend. Like I said, I couldn't get in the door. And I was there on time. I mean, I wasn't late, and we're talking, it was full before it started. That's how well popular, yes, the civic engagement that I tried to go to.
So that one was interesting. Learned about a non-profit group based in Ottawa, Samara Canada. That I think they have some resources that we'll be able to maybe pull from or get some ideas. That they're doing a lot of work across the country. I mean, obviously Ottawa's kind of a hub for certain activities. One of the other things that was talked about, social media was talked about, and how a lot of municipalities are trying. I know we've talked about it. Maybe we'll talk about it more in the future. A general or a generic Twitter feed, and what they're finding is there's a lot of engagement. So it's not just Linda or I that might have to answer the questions, that citizens are answering each other's questions, that is kind of a little community thing. So a lot of them are moving towards that was interesting. Some of the other suggestions were, and I can definitely see where this would work too, partnering with community groups if you want to target certain types of engagement with youth or with whatever portion of the population. If it's around homelessness, then partnering with a non-for-profit group in your area that's already working on that, or finding partners. So that was interesting. I think Linda covered off Joe Oliver and Justin Trudeau's speeches very well. Joe Oliver got pretty dull pretty quickly. Trudeau, I think, engaged the crowd very good. He did not provide as many details as Mulcair did, certainly. The next session I went to was engaging young Canadians. I thought it was really interesting. They had a group from BC and out west of youth there, and the areas that they were interested in pretty much identically mirror the two sessions that we've seen here. Transit, poverty reduction, environment, community building, economic development, just very similar themes. One really neat idea that a few municipalities have done is running a youth election, or running a youth voting center when you run your normal municipal elections. So whether you go out to the schools to do it or have it right in a polling station, so youth can come in and they can, I'm going to say, participate in the process basically, but go with their parents. It doesn't count, but you can track the numbers, you can see how it compares to the re-election, and it takes some of the, I'm going to say, nervousness, if you will, of their first time, and a few places have tried that. One of the suggestions at that session was that you start your youth civic engagement younger, because they kind of did a poll around the room and we all talked about high school age, and the suggestion at that session was grade 6, to at least start touching base with them when they're at least that young. So that was interesting and something a little different than what we've done. Started day 2, I went to the municipal first responders, where we are and where we're headed. There were a number of presenters from Saskatchewan in that one. They are kind of leading the way right now in, I think in hockey it's called analytics, but it's the same theory that instead of making our decisions on RCMP or policing by our hearts or what we read in the media, looking at the numbers and going to the data and seeing, I'm going to say, break and enters, or where are your numbers, where are your resources, and planning accordingly and dictating your budgets. They said it's going to be a challenge. One of the gentlemen, one of the deputy ministers that's involved in that, he said it's too much shift all at once. He said, like, you can get that information, but you can't change the system overnight. But he said that's certainly where they're looking at. Certainly a lot of acknowledgement that the social safety net has a strong connection with our criminal justice system, where if we don't provide enough supports for people with the social safety net, we then end up spending a lot more money looking after those people through the criminal system. Thought one of the really, really interesting, just kind of offhanded comments, that they are finding huge indicators of future challenges within the social safety net and the criminal system: attendance in elementary school, the single largest contributor to predicting challenges in the system. Really? Attendance in elementary school across the board. So that was interesting. JEP grants came up there. I think a few of the leaders may have mentioned it, but definitely FCM is talking about making JEP grants or trying to bring back some sort of federal program for emergency measures spending. The other thing that was talked about a lot, and I haven't heard a lot about it around here, I'm asking Don LeBlanc to do some research. There was a lot of conversation about this 700 spectrum data that the Government of Canada has now dedicated to 20 megahertz. Basically, it's a specialty high-speed broadband network for emergency first responders. This is supposed to be quite cutting edge, that the government has done this twice now, allocated space so they don't get jammed in on a busy Bell network or TELUS network, that there's this special network that they're looking at different ways to take advantage of that across the country. That was interesting. I went to a climate change one that it wasn't a great session, but it was talking about climate change and the effects and flooding. And normally we think of that around here, we talk about sea rise. What they're talking about is Calgary and Ontario and the heavy rains and the impact on flooding, and those basically the two events in those two places, and the billions of dollars worth of insurance claims, and how the municipal units ended up involved with sewer systems and systems backing up, and the insurance claims, and the prediction that we should all be ready for many years of likely house insurance premiums going up, companies pulling out of the Canadian market altogether, and the restrictions around being able to get house insurance becoming more challenging due to those flooding incidents. So that was interesting, a little depressing. I then went to the FIFA game where Canada won. That was very interesting and enjoyable. Yeah, and like Linda said, the pollster was very interesting. He was making no predictions other than to say it's going to be a really interesting fall. The trends have everybody ending up, I'm going to say, almost within that margin of error that it becomes hard to predict. And then the last study tour I went to was probably the most interesting. It's called Youth Leaders of Today and Tomorrow. And at the City of Edmonton, they have a full-time teacher on staff at their City Hall. They have what's called City Hall School. And there are, I think it's 28 classes through the run of the year from around the city you have to apply. And the City Hall has worked with their education district. This is approved curriculum. Its classes 1 to 6 are eligible. You apply and your class gets approved. The city pays for them to come in for the week, and they do a full week of it's city-based curriculum, but they tackle math and science, and they have lesson plans that go, but you might go out to a sewer treatment facility or the garbage sorting facility, and all different levels of, like I say, grade 1 to grade 6. There's history about the city, how it works, just a really fascinating program, right, when you have those kind of resources. They also then have a youth council that is 16 member. I think it mimics the size of their actual city council. 1 staff member, 1 counselor, and then 16 members. Run very formal, like Robert's Rules formal, right? It's run as a full-on council. They have subcommittees. Ages 13 to 23 are eligible. They seem to have seen most of their activity between 17 and 20. That's been a pretty successful program for them. Then they have what they were trying to have, kind of 3 programs. Their last program is struggling for its identity. It's called Next Gen, and it's for 18 to 40-year-olds. But they also have the ability, over half of that program are city staffers. There's a mandate, if you are a city staffer in that age, that you participate. So that is a nice spot to draw your core. That is supposed to be a non-political group, which is very challenging to look at a lot of these issues, taking any kind of politics, but they're calling it a community-based organization working for the benefit of some of their local communities. Again, that group has been challenging because there's been some initiatives they really felt strongly about and wanted to work as a lobby group, and they have just got through a stage of having to redefine themselves because the other half of the group did not want to be a lobby group and lobby for. So that one some challenges there when you want to take kind of the politics out of it, but just interesting on how they are identifying it. Now, a lot of it has to do, like Linda said, their mayor is quite young. He actually was a participant, or I think a supervisor when he was a counselor for 2 of those programs. They've got a few young counselors, so they really are, and it's a relatively young city, so they're very focused on that.
Jim,
Yep.
the youth council one, though, do they make suggestions, or can they suggest things to the, what, I know they don't have any powers probably, but they...
That's it. They can. They certainly have served to gather input on different initiatives, and they also have kind of worked on some of their own direction, things that they feel are important. Again, that one, it was a similar kind of thing. That the direction is very much the group that's there. The group that was there this time are very artistic. They actually worked on, I think, a multicultural commercial that covered multiculturalism and homelessness, and made a documentary. So not necessarily a total fit to near what council was doing, but a topic that's, I guess, popular in the city. But no, if there was initiatives going on around, if the community was building a rink, some of them they've served almost as focus groups, or to help gather a focus group at a subcommittee to get arena users and to get some of that information. At the trade show, there were a number of interesting groups. Probably the most interesting that I made touch with was a non-for-profit called Open North. They specialize in online engagement budget websites. So they're a non-for-profit. This is all they do. You'll be hearing more from me likely in the early fall on this one, but we could put in, HRM has done something very similar, I think it's through this group, where you can put your budget in and you have a choice of kind of modules, and people can't just put in the numbers however they want. We would put in a rough draft of numbers. So if you want to increase spending to recreation, you have to decrease it for the program to work, and it just gives people that idea or the feeling of working within the system on if you want to take money from here, and that they have a number of different modules, really reasonable pricing, and I think it's something that would be really neat for us to explore more in the future.
Heard of that sort of stuff?
Yeah, overall, I'd say my takeaway, it's a really large conference with a lot of people. And like I think this year, talking to a number of different people, it was really well attended. I think the attendance from out west might have surprised them, even though it was based out there, but a lot of councils, a lot of nearly full councils, where I talked to a number of groups that there was a high level of participation.
Looks like we all went to the one in Nova Scotia.
To get a lot of people from up north too, like we did in Saskatoon. A lot of people.
It was a good conference. And something else that I went on towards the end of the second day, I think it was, I went to a place, and it's sort of like a Conway workshop, and they were showing how the community is working for art. And you should have seen, there was a teapot there that this girl had made, but she wasn't there because I wanted to buy it. But it wasn't up for sale yet. And they had things all over, and they explained you can only come if you want to, and that you're willing to work. And when I say willing to work, like, you may draw stickmen, and you keep improving over time, that, or you want to do pottery, or you want to do whatever you want to do. And that itself was showing the initiative of how this group of individuals feel better about themselves. They had beautiful artwork. They worked with artists. Like one girl, I asked if I was allowed to get my picture taken with her, because I don't you know, and they said, oh, certainly, if she says yes, you may. We have consent forms. And I have my picture taken with her work of art that she had been working on. And the levels.
What ages?
There's nothing I could have done.
What ages?
Oh, I would say anywheres from, the youngest I saw looked to be about 16, oldest 70s,
Oh,
you know. You know, some were very willing to speak to you, others didn't want to, and that was fine too. We were told we were allowed, and they did, in another room, they went through the whole program. But the most interesting for me was to get to meet the individuals and see their work that I couldn't even comprehend. Like I said, this teapot made from beads.
beads?
Yeah, she had the teapot form or teapot, and then each one was hand done, every bead.
Cool.
Thousands of beads, thousands. It was so beautiful. I mean, I couldn't get over it. I mean, but there was other work there. You could have found a person making doll clothes. And because art, which I don't think, I guess for me, when I think of art, I think of painting. But they were doing pottery, they were doing ceramics, they were doing drawing, they were doing paintings, they were doing beads, as I say. I mean, it was all over. And they were showing us some new stuff that they were getting into. Felting, I think they called it.
Yeah, it's a big deal on the islands. It's a traditional island craft.
You know, and they were doing that type of stuff. It was, like I said, it was really interesting. And like I said, I think that's sometimes part of our society we forget to include in a lot of things. So, yeah, it was really good. So is there any questions of us? Yes?
Was there any sessions talking about the Green Municipal Fund? The Green Municipal Fund?
I don't know if you're just talking low tonight, Jimmy, or if I'm getting deaf.
Well, I even got my mic on.
Combination of the two.
The Green Municipal Fund. Did they have any sessions on that?
There was
with
one.
Any information?
The biggest thing was they're trying to lessen, the same as I had heard at the last one, they're trying to lessen the paperwork, but there's still a lot of paperwork, and if you're going to do it, you must work with the advisors.
What do you mean, the FCM advisors?
Mhm.
Okay.
And if you work with them, they'll help you right through it.
All right.
And yes, it is eligible, and they said they still don't have enough people applying.
Well, I think then at a later time we need to have a discussion on that for some of our future capital renewable projects that we may want to entertain.
When I'm saying that, they get a lot of applications.
But they don't meet the requirements.
Right. Or they're not suitable, so
Okay.
they don't get enough.
So it sounds like that's potential opportunity with all the
That's why they've been changing things.
green stuff that we got on the go.
Well, there's such a small window that you can actually apply for. It's got to,
Yeah.
like, for example, if somebody else did something, they won't fund
But,
it.
yeah,
You've
they
got to
won't
do
let you.
something innovative and something new.
Yeah.
And so that's the way that they've treated this monies.
New and innovative, man. That's the municipality district of Digby in a nutshell, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. Anything else? Okay. The next is Committee of the Whole Minutes of June 8th.
So move. to
Seconded.
Acceptance.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Is there any old business or business arising? The first is the Recreation Conference, request for sponsorship. I have nothing new to give you. If we're going to sponsor or not.
Is that here in Digby? Must be.
It is here in
The
Digby,
Pines.
but as I said,
This was the one that council debated on whether to go with the sponsorship package as
700.
suggested or give a lesser amount.
Yeah, that's right. And we had asked if we gave a lesser amount, what did that constitute as part of the package. Did we get anything for that, or any recognition? I guess that's what we were wondering.
Sponsorship package right here.
Not really, you just. You give
Seems
them-
quite expensive.
Package is what it is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it.
Seems awfully expensive. And we already give it an abundance of money to Dark. And just in general, my
And-
thoughts about
and-
these things
and-
might be a good, if we're going to pull something back a little bit, some of these things might be the things to look at.
And George and I will probably be attending the conference, and you
That
guys
gives them
will be
money.
allowed to attend, if you want to go in for a day, or if you want to go to the whole conference, or hope the municipal leaders will go.
Yeah.
So that is also a cost to us. So I think, yes?
In the past, though, whenever we've had a conference come to our community, we've always, financially helped it in some way. We're doing that with the Heritage Conference, and we've done it with other conferences in the past. And I'd like to think that we could possibly do something. I mean, I know it's an extra over and above what we put into recreation, but I think they've done a great job trying to attract this conference to come here, and there's a lot of benefits to the community by having these people come into the community. So, I'm personally, I'd be comfortable with going with the lowest sponsorship, the bronze sponsorship, just to show our support for recreation in Nova Scotia. And Bob's done a great job at Dark, and hats off to the board of Dark for the work that they've done. But I think we need to show our support too. So I'll make a motion then. I'll put it on the floor. I'll make a motion that we sponsor the recreation conference at the level of the bronze.
Which is at that
With
I'll second that.
$750.
$750.
I'll second that.
Any discussion?
How many people are coming? 250.
At least 250.
Really
Yeah.
significant.
It's good for the Pines. It's late in the season.
It is. It's got a lot
A
of
lot of
benefits.
our constituents outside work at the Pines.
Right.
That's true.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Motion carried. Proposed changes to the liquor control, was there any other old business? Counselor
Didn't you write something else down there?
Maritza?
Oh, that's new business, sorry.
Jimmy?
No.
Okay. The next is new business. Proposed changes to the Liquor Control Act. As you know, they have sent out some changes that they'd like to make, like in eating establishments. We have no dry areas in the municipality, but what they're trying to do is stop plebiscites. If people want to go in and have 2 drinks and not have to buy food, they'd like to see that happen. I had an interview, and I said, personally, I felt it was a good thing. I thought we were stepping with the liquor control into the 20th century. I said, not the 21st yet. We haven't got there.
That's too far.
But I think we've finally stepped into this from the 19th to the 20th. I see it a good thing. Our CAO mentioned that a plebiscite was held, and the gentleman that had to pay for the plebiscite.
Well, the Nova Scotia Alcohol Gaming Association, or their division, they're responsible for paying for the plebiscite. And every time there's a plebiscite, there was one they had when they worked out the amount of voters, it costs $215 per vote. So
These sorts of things, these laws are absolutely absurd and ridiculous, and I would like us to write something in full support of this. Look at more examples along these. The books are too full of red tape and extremely dated laws as it is, and I want to encourage this sort of thing that, we have to wait a year and have a plebiscite. I remember members of my family, and then afterwards they had a plebiscite, and then it turned out we were 50 meters past the village line, so it didn't even have to have happened, and got the liquor license anyway, and then somebody in town wanted a liquor license, and it was just a big bunch of problems for business people, one after another, that I have seen for these sorts of things. Just absurd. get rid of them. Get rid of those laws, and commend them on looking at things like this.
And one thing the proposed regulations do, if there are municipalities that for one reason or another want to continue to have a dry area or be dry, they have that right within a year to write a bylaw specifically for that, but then it would be under the municipal enforcement
It'd
for
be
that
our
type of
problem
thing.
rather than the problem.
Exactly.
If we want to be anti-business, then we can. The province is definitely good.
Now, our comments were supposed to be back by July 3rd, but I feel we can send these in. Personally, I was all positive. I'm hearing from Councilor Tudor. Now I'll hear from.
From option one, yeah, I thought it was a great idea. Whatever, you could go into a restaurant or have 1 to 2 drinks without ordering food and stuff. The second one where it said about doing away with all the dry, and just making it a wet or whatever, doing away with dry.
Unless the municipality themselves don't want it. Now, like I said, we have no dry in our municipality. There's no dry.
There used to be a whole bunch. They all.
Yeah.
Are you sure there's not any?
There's no dry.
Sitting around anymore?
No.
I guess it doesn't really matter. I was just thinking, like,
But
for myself, if an area wants to be dry, then that's kind of up, but if
There's
we don't
no-
have
there-
any, then.
there's
apply
125
that.
dry areas, I think it said in here, throughout the province, and they have still the right to remain dry. They just have to send a letter.
Yeah,
That's right.
Do a bylaw. Like each
do a
municipality has
bylaw.
a year to introduce a bylaw.
So they can stay. Maritza?
I agree. I think it's a positive step forward, and I agree with David that some of these laws are pretty old. Never
Jimmy?
streamlined.
No, I'm fully supportive of the changes that the government wants to make, and we've got to make it easier for businesses to survive in this economy, not hinder them. So.
And that's one of the things I also said on the news. So I would like just for us, for Linda,
I will send
to
in
send
on behalf
in
of
that we're
council.
very positive and much in agreement, and hopefully do more. The next is the tour of the Digby Medical Center. I'm doing that to ask if you guys will, if you're not coming, to let me know, so I can let him know.
When is that?
It's at 6 o'clock on Wednesday evening,
This Wednesday?
this Wednesday.
6 o'clock.
Is it all ready to open?
Yes.
Just wondering.
Sort of. Yeah.
And what is the front entrance, or the main entrance?
On the side of the hospital, you have a
Did they ever
mile
do
to
the
walk.
pedway?
No.
Are they going to?
No,
Do what?
They were going to do a pedway that connected it to the
Oh,
hospital.
a pedway.
no, they're not doing that.
I just wondered because I didn't think there was one.
Is there any chance that they could have that at 5:30, where we could go a little bit earlier than 6 o'clock, because there's the next thing on your agenda to discuss that it's about the same time.
The open house is 6:30.
Right?
Yeah.
I can email him and ask. I know the town is going as well, not just our council.
So
Right.
it will affect them as well.
But they
But
want to
it's-
go to the other thing,
But the other
too.
thing's going to affect them
But
also.
I figure it's going to take less than a half hour. I can't see it taking a long time, but I can ask him to go back to go to 5:30.
That'd be great if you could.
Okay.
Why are they doing it after hours anyway? I wonder. Like, why not in the afternoon? Just-
I would have been happy with the afternoon,
Yeah.
but I wasn't asked for the afternoon.
Linda, do we still have dark on Wednesday?
No, that's been canceled.
It's been canceled.
The packages come in, but the meeting is canceled.
Okay. Till next week or for the month?
They're saying to August.
As far as attendance, I planned on attending, but I also want to go to the open house for the
Yeah,
fair.
that's why I have both there. I want to make sure we're
Yeah, same with
attending
I
both.
plan on
Probably
attending.
Okay.
Responsibilities with my daughters, but soon now Sunday I'll have a lot more. I'll probably be saying let's start going to these because Heidi will be done her masters by then.
So you cannot go this
No, she's in
week?
shower. Those times I can't be away from.
You can't get a babysitter?
Well, I got one for today, but I don't want to have multiple ones with the wife gone because of the stability requirement.
But that's Wednesday. That's 2 days from now.
Yeah, I know.
Do not make any comments what you don't see or don't hear. Okay? Well, you can't comment about something you haven't been on a tour of and look at. That's all I'm
The
saying.
building, I think I can comment on things not associated with the layout.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying with, unless you see it, you don't know it. You don't know how it's set up, that's all. I mean, if you can't go,
Well, I
you
won't
can't
make any
go.
comments on the architectural layout.
I have.
I have no promises on anything else.
So, all right, I will let him know, and then for the open house, I'm hearing,
Open house for,
the next one is the open house for the Fundy Rose, and that's at 6:30. Okay,
yeah.
and that's our opportunity to go over and look at the ship and see that. So, well, if you're not coming to the other, you're not coming to
There's
the
no way
other.
I can do it.
I'm going to both.
Okay,
So does that mean that the Fundy Rose is soon going to be in service?
we'll find out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me know. Or not. Come Saturday, I'll start going to these things again.
Mm-hmm. You don't have to show up Saturday, you'll be too busy. I'll give your reasons for not attending.
I have good reasons. I
I
have
know.
to pick the babies up and bring them back.
I know. I know. That's why you have kids and I don't.
Little one.
Yours grew up.
They had no choice.
I'll wait another year.
Okay. The next is the Chief Administrator's Report, meeting dates and reminders. As you know, July 20th, there's no meeting. July 27th at 4:30, there's a special council meeting. That will only be for what's listed on that agenda, and nothing else is added. 27th at 6, we have a joint meeting with the town and Claire to discuss the energy trust. And August 3rd, 10th, and 17th, there's no meetings. August 24th, there's going to be council. The 31st, there is no meeting. Labor Day, there's no meeting. The 14th is the Committee of the Whole of September. The 16th is the joint RCMP Advisory Board.
15.
Isn't that what I said?
Nope.
Oh, sorry, 15th. The 21st is at 4:30 is TIR, and at 5:30 is bylaw and policy, and the 28th is council. Okay? Okay. Then you had your CAO update. Was there any questions or concerns for Linda?
Just how's that software? Have you noticed things going smoothly? The staff having less responsibilities and requirements, sitting around waiting for things to print out?
You're referring to
like
the
auditors. Does it make it?
certainly we've seen a big difference with the auditors in being able to provide them with the type of reports that they're asking for.
Okay.
We can easily do what where before we would have to do it, sort of make one up. Not make it up, but put one together.
Yes.
This way it's, not make it up.
Print it out, can you? Make it up?
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Bad
Supposed to hear that?
bad choice of words. But no, it certainly has been. I mean, it's still, a significant amount of time for staff on some of the questions that the auditors do. You understand that they're doing risk assessments but some of the questions just seem to be repetitive and don't seem to be, I think, anyway, Corley and I are going to sit down with Grant Thornton after the audit and just do a bit of a chat
The
with
questions
them.
might not seem readily relevant to the task. Is that what you mean? Or?
Well, they just seem to be common sense things that they should know from year to year.
They should presume that, yes, we still do it this way.
Yeah,
Sort of.
I mean, there's a certain amount of control and tests that they want to do, but some of the tests they do just seem to be a bit, redundant, I guess is the word. So, but anyway, we will do a follow-up with them.
Jimmy?
With regards to our auditors, do we put it out to tender or do an RFP every so often, or do we keep the same one all the time?
Our practice has been to keep the same auditors because we were looking for that continuity of auditors from year to year.
But
We don't seem to have that anymore, so
the auditing firm has such a changeover in staff that to go to another audit firm would be about the same thing.
Yes.
So,
it would be, yeah.
and
So,
I'm wondering whether or not, if we're not going to be able to have that continuity within the firm, do we want to do an RFP?
I think it's time. I think at our next one, we should be doing that.
Makes sense.
It's time.
Due diligence.
There is, there's more than one business in this town.
Well, we have a policy in some of the committees that we serve on and some of the boards we serve on that they have to do it after so many years. So
Certainly, it is something that seems more palatable now than it had in the past. It just didn't make sense, and our procurement policy allows for us to continue with the professional, contracts if it deemed in the best interest of the municipality, which it did. But it certainly wouldn't hurt to go out to tender next year.
if nothing else, it would show the people that are actually doing our work now that, there's certain requirements that we need from them as well.
Mm-hmm.
And if those are missing, then, they have to step up to the plate.
Mm-hmm. Certainly the lead. I mean, Gloria Banks has been consistent with us, but she's not the one. She does the oversight, but is not the one that actually does the audit. And I think it's just, they have, accounting students and co-op students, but they do seem to be relatively new and not really informed on municipal government when they come.
Yeah, and one last thing on that. One of the reasons why we've gone with the same audit firm over the years is because they've got a vast experience in municipal auditing. But if they're not actually, if the senior auditors are not actually doing the work, then and they're using students, like you said, I don't know that we're actually getting what we wanted out of it. So.
They're using students.
Well, one of the, and it's a return. It's a co-op. I mean, they're just short of getting their CAs, but.
Okay.
And if that led to a reduced cost for us, I mean, that would be
different.
worth it because they certainly are well qualified.
You'll pass them over to them, but we're not getting those reduced costs.
Well, I don't know. I don't see that we are yet.
Okay, so was that your question, David?
Nope.
Okay, what's your question, dear?
In regards to the questions, and hear anything else from the town in regards to the questions for the formula and for DART?
Nothing in writing at all. I've had some discussions with the CAO, and it's something that they would put to the fall.
I think that last list that we got might have maybe made it seem that argument maybe.
I'm not sure they received that. I don't know if they received that. That was something we had asked for.
Oh, okay.
Okay, anything else? All right. Those departmental reports, any questions on them?
We didn't get one.
Okay, hearing none. Updates from previous action items. Any concerns or questions?
Well, congratulations, Maritza, on the task force there, getting some recognition for your work. And you too, Linda.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
And capital project update. Okay, the next was correspondence. Alzheimer's Society 211 Information and Referral Services. Proposed Administration Penalty Program. TLC Animal Shelter, Municipality of Yarmouth closure of land registration office, and Nova Scotia Royal Canadian Mounted Police year-end report is in the library for viewing. Any comments over? Yes.
This is what I'm glad for our relationship with TLC. I don't know if anyone noticed, but another municipality nearby with their kill policy after 3 days made international news. And I'm just very pleased that we were able to work with, like you said, local community groups, made a partnership. We didn't have to do anything from the ground up. We just took advantage of Friends for Ferals, Melissa, and TLC, and we were able to we now deal with our animal problems, and we don't have to worry about bad press or any of those other things. I mean, cruelty, of course.
I mean,
we would consider animal lovers around here, but
I would be the first to admit I'm a big animal lover, whether it be or not be. But I assume we do things for the welfare of the animals, not for any other reason.
Well,
for the welfare of the
the
animals.
community too. I think there's a direct relation between having a plan for this sort of stuff and not letting things get out of control.
Oh yes, I agree. I agree.
Can I just go back for a
Maritza?
second? I just
Yes.
had a question. I didn't see a report, unless I've missed it, for the Coordinator of Program Development and Renewable Energy. Are they part of the package? No, okay. Just wondered. Well, I see it here on your report, so that's why I thought maybe I missed it.
Okay. All right.
Are we going to get one?
The next, we are going to be going in camera, so we need to
Can I
shut
just go
off.
back?
Oh, yes.
Are we going to get one?
Get one what?
A report from the,
Oh, sorry.
those two
We can
reports?
follow up, yeah, just
Yeah,
writing it down.
please.
We'll
Didn't
follow
we
up.
just get one the other day?
No.
That was
Well,
from
that
Dan
may
Harvey.
be.
That was part of the
Okay, okay.
follow-up from Terry's meeting with us in bylaw, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get that.
Okay.
Maybe he just thought that would be part of his. Okay, sorry.
Oh, no, that was valid. Thank you. So we are going to go into in camera, but we're going to shut off and, so can I have an emotion, please?
So moved in camera.
And second? All in favor? Contrary minded? Motion carried.